afternoon, everyone. May I have your attention, please? It is my pleasure to warmly welcome you all for our national consultation on equal justice, securing equal inclusion of women in higher judiciary, organized by Center for Law and Policy Research. We are truly honored to have with us our distinguished gathering of retired judges, senior advocates, legal practitioners, academics, researchers, and members of media who bring diverse perspectives and all united by a shared commitment to strengthening gender inclusion and equity in our judiciary. The Center for Law and Policy Research is dedicated to making constitution work for everyone through law and policy research, social and governance intervention, and strategic litigation. Over the last 15 years, CLPR has engaged with and advocated for the rights of marginalized, disadvantaged, and vulnerable groups and community, including women and girls, Dalit and Adivasi communities, persons with disability, and transgender people. CLPR impact at the court spans securing 1% reservation for transgender persons in public employment in Karnataka, the decriminalization of same-sex conduct and of adultery, and also the prohibition of child marital rape. As an organization, we are committed to building as an organization, we are committed to building a shared understanding of Constitution of India and its role in our lives through education initiatives and digital resources such as constitutionofindia.net and now our own independent Supreme Court Observer. Our latest initiative, Just Equal Justice, launched in 2024, aims to understand and address the systematic barrier faced by women in reaching position of leadership in higher judiciary. Over the last few months, we have undertaken research on judicial institutions and conducted interviews with women, judges and lawyers and held roundtable discussion with women lawyers in various high courts. Our objective has been to understand the structural barrier hindering the advancement of women and judges and opportunities for reform within the judicial system. As a part of this process, we are sharing with you a visual infographic that presents some of our key findings from our research, highlighting not only numerical disparity, but a gendered nature of power within the judiciary. We hope this will serve as a starting point for today's discussion and will help ground our conversation in empirical evidences. Today, panel will include conversations of role of Bar Association in enabling the advancement of women lawyers to the position of leadership and the importance of data in driving law reforms. Tomorrow, we will reflect on judicial diversity from the bench perspective and the role of media in pushing this discourse forward. We believe that these conversations are essential for driving transformative institutional change and for ensuring that our judiciary becomes more inclusive, representative, and aligned with constitutional values. We take this opportunity to express our deepest gratitude to our panelists, facilitators, participants for your presence and for enriching this consultation with your insight. With that, I welcome you again and take this opportunity to invite our panel onto the stage, Mrs. N. Krishnaveni. Mrs. Anita Shekhar Castellino. Mr. Prashant Kumar. Okay. It is my pleasure to introduce the moderator for the session, Mrs. Vibha Datta Makhija. So I will introduce the moderator. Mrs. Vibha Datta Makhija is a senior advocate at Supreme Court of India. She graduated from Campus Law Center, University of Delhi, and pursued an LLM from Georgetown University Law Center before joining the bar in 1992. Her areas of practice include constitutional and criminal law, education law, arbitration, and insolvency law. She was appointed vice person of National Anti-Doping Appellate Panel in 2019 and also served as a standing counsel for the state of Madhya Pradesh from 2000 to 2013. And as a member of National Legal Service Authority from 2013 to 2015, she led the effort to frame the gender sensitization rules and establish the Gender Sensitization Committee at Supreme Court. With that, I will give over to you, ma'am.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's a great pleasure to be here in Bangalore, away from Supreme Court, discussing Supreme Court and discussing Supreme issues. And it is with great thanks to CLPR and its organizers, where in the morning I have had a sense of enthusiasm and a feeling that this consultation over these 2 days is going to be historical in some ways, in as much as I feel that for the first time, I am seeing conversations around real issues, which are not just academic conversations, which are not just lip service to the problems that we are facing, and just the people in the room are representing the people who are really involved and who have exhibited the challenges that they've faced and how they've overcome those challenges. So with that, I will introduce our participants here. And in reverse chivalry, I will first introduce Prashant Kumar. Things have to change, so let's change them. Prashant Kumar is the president of Bar Association of India and is a lawyer who's specializing in constitutional, commercial, and civil matters. And he has a very wide international profile as well. He's also a part of the board of directors, International Legal Assistance Consortium, which I believe is a Sweden-based organization. It was generated there. So I'm glad that he's invited to this conversation, because now we are not working on national or state or district levels. We are going to be working at international levels. So we welcome you, Prashant, and we hope that you are going to be a very close associate to this forum, as well as the ideas that are worked out here. I now welcome Ms. Krishnaveni, who's a senior advocate practicing in Madurai bench. I'm meeting her for the first time, and it's a great pleasure. And I believe she has 3 decades of experience of appearing in original and appellate civil matters. She has served as Secretary, Madurai Bench of Madras High Court Bar Association and President, Women's Advocates Association, before becoming the first woman to be elected the president of the Madras High Court Bar Association in 2016. She is also an honorary vice president, it's not finished yet, of the All India Federation of Women's Lawyers. Now the applause is well deserved. And it's not just reading so many associations that she has been associated with, which is important. What is important is that she's been able to sustain her work in these places. I also welcome Ms. Anita Shekhar Castellino, who is a counsel in Bombay High Court with almost 30 years experience. She is a convener, Interactive Lawyers Association of Women, ILAW, which was instrumental in demanding posts for women lawyers at the Bombay Bar Association. This led to the BBA passing a resolution in 2024, introducing 5 posts for women. She's currently serving as an executive committee member, Bombay Bar Association. I'm told that we are also expecting Mr. Vivek Subba Reddy, who's the current president of the Bar Association of Advocates Association of Bangalore. And he's a graduate. I'll introduce him now so that we don't have a stop or flow of conversation. a graduate of the University Law College, Bangalore, and has over 20 years experience at the bar, appearing in civil and commercial matters. He is also a national media spokesperson and member of the Bharatiya Janata Party. I'm looking forward to him being here because we need people like him to spearhead these issues and, ensure that they reach the outreach is increased with that. So now coming to what we are talking about today is about leveling the scales and how bar associations as catalysts for gender equality can be used. So I will start with you, Krishnaveni, if I may address you as that. So we would like to hear from you because we see that you have been able to tame the animals of various associations and have been able to win, I'm sure, many elections to be able to hold these posts. So we would like to hear from you, were there any specific challenges because of your gender in standing for these elections and being able to be successful in them?
Good afternoon to all. So far as I am concerned, I have not faced any challenges because all the advocates, male advocates especially, are very cordial to me. In fact, they selected me as a president unanimously. So I didn't face any challenge, but I see after I becoming the secretary or president of the common bar association where both men and women are members, after that no women has come forward even for a key post because I feel that they lack some self-confidence. They can come up, they can do it. After that, I have never seen that, except myself. No other women has come to that stage. They have contested in a post of EC members, that's all. After that, a key post of a treasurer or joint secretary or a vice president, for that post, nobody has come forward.
So in your assessment, what could be the reason why they have not come forth?
They're not having that confidence. They can succeed. Maybe I feel that is the most important. They should have that confidence. They should have that belief that she can convince others, she can win over others and come out successfully. That confidence they are lacking. First of all, being a woman, it's very difficult to come up in this profession. Everybody knows about it. But joining in the bar association itself, it's a big task nowadays. Then next one is, after becoming the members, then to contest in the elections. They feel shy. Also, they have domestic problems also. All these things, all factors, they are not allowing them to come to the forefront. That is the difficulty.
So if you don't mind, I'm going to dive a little deeper into this
Yes.
because what we are trying to understand over here, the first thing that we are trying to understand is that meritorious women who you would think otherwise are extremely good at their work, and if not better, they are at least equal to the work of their counterpart gender
Yes.
workers. So just to ask you that why was it that you stood for elections? Where did you get that confidence from?
I don't know.
No, I'm just asking
Yes,
you,
yes,
not
yes.
as you as personally,
Yes.
but to ascertain what are the factors which generate confidence so that we can provide that kind of an environment.
Maybe why is because Madurai bench started in 2004. Before that I was practicing at Chennai High Court. Immediately after the establishment of Madurai High Court, a set of people, more than 100 or 200 people, came from Chennai to Madurai and settled there. By that time, I had a 15 years of experience. So when the Bar Association was started and it was growing, in 2013 I first became secretary, and then in Women Lawyer Association I became the president, and in the Common Gender Association I became the president in 2019. By that time, there was no senior women members. Very few persons are there. Even the male counterparts were there. There were sufficient number of persons, but nobody came forward also. So I had a lot of cases also. So I was having good practice at the civil side. Considering all these things, all pressurized me to take that post. So I was able to come up there.
So you are ascribing it to your circumstances, surrounding circumstances.
Maybe one of the factors. That alone is not the factor. That is one of the factors.
Thank you. I'll now move to Prashant. Prashant, you are now holding a very, very, what should one say, crucial stakeholder post, which is that of the President of the Bar Association of India. So, do you have a vision of women's representation in lawyers' associations as well as their representation in the judiciary? Is there a personal vision that you have for them?
Thank you. And first of all, I'm very grateful for the CLPR to have invited me here. And I have grown in a very, very internationalized framework in which the leadership of women, both in the bar and bench, there had always been a very pronounced push. And I have had the opportunity of working with some very great women bar leaders and on the side of the bench. In ILAC, since ILAC has a council, and we have always a nominee of International Women Judges Association, International Women Prosecutors Association, and Bar Association of India in 2000 withdrew its candidate to allow the first woman to be elected as president of International Bar Association, Diana Kemp. Then I served as vice president of Malati Das, who in 2011 became the youngest and the first woman president at the age of 41. So we lost her at a very young age of 53. But one of the most powerful champions of women in the profession, she established the Women and Children Rights Committee in Law Asia, and also created a framework where the judiciaries under Hague Convention could cooperate through Law Asia. So these were all path-breaking initiatives which I have been a part of. And in the Bar Association of India itself, we had in 2014 Rachana Shrivastava as the first Honorary General Secretary of the Bar Association of India, a very powerful executive post. And she is currently serving as Vice President of Supreme Court Bar Association as well as Bar Association of India. Then we had one gap, and after that we have Anandita, who had no hierarchical position earlier in the Bar Association of India, but had performed so well as our advocate on record in National Judicial Appointments Commission case, NJAC case, that she made a lateral entry as the Honorary General Secretary, again the youngest. And now she has been the youngest Vice President of the Bar Association of India, which was always considered as, an institution of the old guard, so as to say. So now in this new generation, we have very powerful women leaders coming up, and I have myself encouraged. There was a conference in 2015 in Sapporo, in Japan, and Rachana was to speak there. So she said, okay, I will go and speak. When she went for check-in, I told that I am coming from another country. So that was her first travel on her own without family outside India. You know, coming from very traditional families, sometimes even these small things become kind of, you know, mental blocks that you need somebody. And once she kind of broke that mental shackle, she has come out as one of the most powerful women bar leaders of the country. And we have also created a platform in Switzerland where I am working. One of the persons involved is again one of the most powerful female lawyers in the world. That's called Amal Clooney. So with all these very powerful women leaders, I don't see why and how in India we can't achieve the same kind of success. We have to mentor, we have to encourage, we have to ensure that more bar leaders come. And I think the judiciary is intervening, but I think Bombay Bar Association made the pioneering effort, Mr. Nitin Thakkar, who is also part of our executive committee. Thank you.
So I'll just spin off another query on that. We'll all love to have Amal Clooney amongst us if you can get her here.
You're all invited to Switzerland. We'll try to get her here also.
Okay, we all will love to do that. But on a more serious note, you see, we are talking of international representation also of women. And I had pulled out some figures. So, and these figures have turned out to be very interesting. What transpires from these figures is that, and I've just taken a couple of countries. In USA, in the federal judiciary, there are about 33% active federal judges. Now, I'm just putting these figures out so that we can compare where we stand and we can peg our aspirations or we can better the aspirations. So in US, the number is 33%. In UK, it's about 35%. And I don't think anyone will be able to guess where is the highest representation of women internationally in which courts, and I'll say it's Rwanda. So this is a new country, and I think given the wealth of resources that we have here, I'm sure we can do better than that. So just a spin-off question. How do you envisage bringing this international experience into the Indian fora to be able to ensure we are not looking at 50% as of now or the population proportion figures yet? Let's say even 30 to 33%. What would your association do to achieve those figures?
See, first of all, in my tenure, one of the things I'm doing is we have a position of state secretaries. As you know, one of the panelists, she just mentioned, not very many women leaders are even coming forward. So we have a position in Bar Association of India which is called the state secretary. And half of the state secretaries I'm ensuring are women. And with special focus on states which have more, you know, very strong roots of patriarchy, where, you know, female lawyers and judges and all, it's very difficult for them. So in Northeast and in other states, you know, this is kind of a lateral entry into the Bar Association leadership. But more than that, you know, sometimes it's taken as that, you know, now more than 50% judges in the, you know, junior division are females coming from the tests. But, you know, one cannot take, you know, much satisfaction out of it, because what is happening, since it is very difficult for women to find a place in a competitive profession, they are the ones aspiring more to enter the judiciary, where, you know, it can be done not through the networks, kind of, working under a senior or getting clients, these things. So, they have a push there and they are really succeeding, but that is not enough. Because what happens once you enter at this stage, going to the senior civil judge, then to district judge and coming to high court, the journey is too long, and it is almost that difficult that, any proportion, even in decades or two, will rise through the promotee judges selection in the higher judiciary, in high courts, through this channel, because the entry 50% is at the lowest rung. So what Bar Association of India is planning, and again in states like Rajasthan, in states like Uttar Pradesh and Odisha, we are creating a mentoring program in an area of law, because we find that there are very few actually practicing lawyers, lady lawyers, in the field of criminal law. And if you talk about POSCO courts, the whole law's implementation is lopsided because victims don't have so many women lawyers to go to, especially in areas which are remote, and they can't even confide. So what we are planning is to create a mentoring structure where we mentor and train women lawyers for practices in this area, and also generate a kind of specialization. And once they are there, then their entry into judiciary, both at the high court level and through exams and experience to the district judiciary, where again, through promotee channel they can come. But I think this is something which cannot be done by bar associations alone, because traditionally bar associations don't have this kind of structures. But we are trying to put those structures, and it is through cooperation with Center for Law and Policy Research and other NGOs that we'll be able to implement it much better.
Very encouraging to note that bar associations now are working towards getting some structure in and getting some method in the madness which has been going on so far. So now turning to Ms. Castellino, what gave you the idea that there should be a mandatory reservation of posts? Because the general perception, even women who are in the profession, mostly feel that we have to prove our merit, we have to, prove ourselves, and we are not asking for any doles. So in a way, it runs counter to the women's spirit of being in the workforce to stand in a reserved post. So I just want to examine from you and ask you that why did you ask for a reservation instead of, what we talk about all the time, mentoring, training, giving them the opportunities? Why reservation?
Hi, everybody. It's a very good question. And I must tell you that Bombay, as such, has the highest number of women practicing. But generally, if you see the statistics, the number of women entering the field and the number of women remaining in the field are two different. The number reduces drastically. One of the reasons is that in Bombay, as it is, law is considered as an old boys club. So for a woman to make her mark is very difficult. We all talk about empowering a woman, helping a woman to stand up on her own feet, etc. But if you actually see the practicals of it, in Maharashtra, when you stand for the Bar Council elections, it means gathering votes and garnering votes from all over Maharashtra. So you go to the remotest of places where there is a bar association and ask all those members to please vote for you, etc., which is very difficult for a woman. I'm not saying it's impossible. It's possible, but it's very difficult. And Maharashtra is huge. So we thought of And there were women who stood for elections who never managed to win. So we thought of this, that if there is a reservation, it will definitely at least get us 2 women who will be in the seat. And at the end of it, Maharashtra having such a lot of huge workforce of women who are coming in continuously, they will be able to understand the problems with the younger generation women lawyers are facing. It's very difficult, and I know that for a fact. See, I have started an organization called iLaw, which is basically an organization of lawyers all over Maharashtra, women lawyers who come together. We started a mentorship program. In fact, we were the first ones to write to the law minister to ask for these reservations. And we did that in 2019, 20, sorry. Yes, 20. And the response that we got from all over India was astonishing. We had a lot of women lawyers and organizations who called us up, who wrote to us, saying that it's a very good move. We will support you. And I think the final fruit of it is the judgments which came out in the Delhi Bar and the Supreme Court as far as Karnataka is concerned. So we felt that it's the need of the hour to be able to push women and not just say that we are going to empower them. Just empowering them is not going to help. We are at a situation where we need to push them. We need to reserve the seats. Empowering will come later on. First, we need to get them a seat at the table, which today I find it very, very difficult to see women getting that seat. And unlike my learned friend, I disagree with the fact that there are no women who are willing to come forward. At least in Maharashtra, we have plenty of women who are willing to come forward. And ILO was the one who pushed the Bar Association, Bombay Bar Association, to have the reservation. We, in fact, even asked for a secretary. And they said, no, that's asking too much. No, 5 ho gaya, bas hai. So it is like, they've done us a favor. We need to thank them for it. But at least it was a beginning for us. So we need this. We can't just stop at talking about empowering, and of course we need the help of, even the NGOs. We need the help of understanding of even judges. If the judges reciprocate better with women, then you will see more women coming forward and continuing with litigation. I know of so many lady lawyers who gave up the profession because it's common knowledge that we had a judge many years ago who would tell women in court that your place is in the kitchen, what are you doing here? So, considering all that, we need that push, we need the reservation. When we have the reservation, more women will come forward, they look at us and come forward. Today also, I have stood for the elections. Of course, we had a 5-seat reservation. But 4 of us came in without the reservation numbers. We were topping the list. So it is, although we 4 did come in with that, the other women, this is the first time when we spoke about reservation that we had something like 16 women who applied, who filed their nominations for elections. So it is not that women don't want to. Women want to. The hesitation is that they are not able to go and meet people. They are not able to network the way the men do. So therefore, I support this reservation.
So as a thought process on what you said, 2-3 I think factors probably propelled you towards this also. First of all, mentoring and educating is a very long drawn and slow process.
Correct.
And I take 1951 as date of establishment of Supreme Court as the counting year. So 74 years down the line, we still have very small numbers in leadership position. In fact, your point with regard to the women in the entry workforce is very well taken, and these are all international studies which all the data goes to show that at entry level, women in fact outnumber men, but as you go higher up the ladder, the women fall off the ladder. So here is the conversation that we are having about how to retain them on the ladder and how to push them further above. So as bar associations, is there a thought process of putting all differences aside and having a commonality of purpose to ensure, because you see what's happened so far is we all talk about merit and we always have excuses, no woman is coming forward. So when we have reservation as a result of reservation, what happens is that it's compulsory, it's mandatory, you have to do it. So more women, even if they are not half as meritorious, at least they've got a place on the table, as you said. So are the bar associations working out any cohesive policies? Are you all coming up with some papers, or is there any discussion? Is there any group, subgroup, subcommittee that all of you are thinking of establishing in terms of thinking out processes, how you can increase visibility of women, firstly within yourselves, and secondly presenting them to the collegiums to be considered, or to be appointed as, in positions, like government positions or public prosecutors and so on and so forth. So this is a common question to all three of you, that we'll start from you because you're here with us and you can tell us whether there has been any conversation once you get elected on these issues, or are you all just mired into the day-to-day affairs of a general bar association? I'll start with you.
So far, there is no such initiative. Hereafter, we'll start the initiative.
Thank you very much. I'm very happy to get that commitment here and now. And
Wow.
CLPR may note it down.
Yes, definitely, definitely. Because first of all, what I think is the self-confidence in women lawyers has to be more. They have to believe in themselves that we can achieve. When a woman can become a prime minister, when a woman can become a president, when a woman can become a finance minister or a defense minister, why can't a woman lawyer become a leader of a bar association? Definitely it is possible. Only that confidence, women lawyers should have that confidence that they can achieve, they are capable of doing it. Because as Madam said, they come immediately after enrolling, they will be there for another 6 months or 1 year, then they will vanish. After getting married, after 5 or 10 years, they may come back. They may not be having that interest in the profession. So to have that interest in the profession, they should be continuously coming from the date of enrollment. The interest in the profession makes them to get them involved in the bar associations. That is more important. Once they have that confidence that we can do it, we are not less than the men, they should have that sensitivity and they have to approach in that angle. First of all, I have seen when there is a women lawyer association is there will be more than 400 or 500 members in the women lawyer association. But in a common gender where men and women are there, where there are 500 members, 20 women will be there and around 480 men will be there. They won't come and join. They have some fear. They have some shyness. Something prevents them from getting into and to be among the men. Maybe so many factors are there. They have to come and mingle with all the members, and they have to, one of the point is that there may be a reservation. The reservation, they will be forced to come. Just like in a panchayat election where it is reserved for a particular caste or thing, then only for the name's sake the wife will be or a daughter will be there. Everything will be controlled by the husband or the mother. Just like that, they will be only for a name's sake. They won't have any contribution to the association or its activities. They should voluntarily come. Those persons with that sight they have to be elected. Merely allotting 2 seats for an EC member, EC member will not be sufficient. At the key post level of a vice president or a treasurer or a librarian, it should be allotted. So then they must be involved in the activities of the Bar Association. Then only they will be visible to the judges.
So I think there are two takeaways which I think you are taking away from today's conversation. One is that you are going to make sure that your association
Yes, definitely.
works towards making sure that women are elected to key leadership bar
Yes.
association posts.
Yes.
And secondly, Madras High Court, despite being one of our oldest high courts and also being one of our most powerful high courts, has only 21% women as high court judges.
Yes, yes, yes.
So
At least that is highest.
yes, and the MOP provides for appointment of judges that there should be at least 30%. So maybe this is also an agenda and some kind of conversation with the Chief Justice and the
Yes.
Collegium, where you will be
Definitely, definitely.
pushing this
Yes, yes.
to
Yes.
till such time that it comes to 30% at least.
Yes, definitely.
Thank you.
That will be done.
Prashant?
See, in Bar Association of India, we had proposed a committee, but its structure is being prepared by Anandita, and I don't want to steal her thunder. When her turn comes, she should describe the initiative. See, as far as institutional structures, beyond mentoring and other things for women to make it to the echelons of higher judiciary, this idea and what process to follow was sitting with us when we were spearheading the NJAC matter. And in that matter, very few people know about it. Advocates on Record Association's main petition had a version of Collegium which had a law minister as a member. Because what was the thought process was, is that Venkat Chalaiya Commission had made a recommendation when reviewing the constitution's working, and in that it was there. But later on we found that, the kind of social media, the kind of, information society which is there. What about a prospect where every 2 weeks to appoint judges, law minister and judges are sitting together? What inferences it may lead to? So it is very easy to talk about these structures, but we have seen how actually these commissions work. You leave the examples of UK and other places, in Philippines, even in Australia, in Malaysia, how, it led to internecine kind of competition within the judge nominees onto the commission, and how they chose to destroy each other, and then government carried the whole initiatives. These are practical things. So Bar Association's petition concentrated on the creation of a secretariat. And MOP is just one part of it. Who will operate the MOP? There has to be a specialized machinery, not an ad hoc machinery. And that machinery has to be constitutionally independent in the similar way as Constitution provides for an independent registry of the court. So the whole structure was provided, but during that process, this was something which was left to be worked out in future things. But, there was a thought process with Fali and others that, if we go back and seek it, maybe, with a different composition of a constitution bench, we may get entirely a different thing and lose the gain which is there through the NJAC judgment. But sooner or later, we have to put a structure in which how the candidates come. Because, right now, it's a male-dominated collegium. And the appointments and recommendations are through affiliations, It's a kind of a reference network where you ask, we have to change it to an open network. Those who have capabilities, they come forward. And there has to be within that structure built in a very kind of a normative system which cannot be tempered by the individual choices. Like, I always give an example, and we gave this example during the hearing also. Today, if you have to apply for a visa of United States or any other country, you will go to next page only after giving certain declarations and other things on that page. The data which is there remains confidential, but it remains. Anonymized data can appear, which will be very helpful for the research. So a complete system can be made in which applications can be made onto the system, where all parameters can be refined. And then that will bring down this whole dependence on a culture of references, tapping on the shoulder kind of a thing, and more meritorious individuals, including women, can come forward. Right now, there is absolutely no level playing field at all. So, to change it through bar associations and all is doing a very little tinkering unless until we bring about this institutional change.
In fact, Prashant, I'll share with you the morning discussion, and one of the main issues that we were talking about is a process of applications. So maybe the thing that the Bar Association can help with, I agree with you that it has to be a rounded approach from all directions. But maybe the Bar Associations can help in this process by having discussions around these things, because they are best equipped to get people together and sensitize them and, get the point of view across. Maybe that's where the Bar Association of India can be of much use.
That's what we are targeting at. But my effort has always been how to take conversation to an
The next level,
actionable.
yes, that would be a great thing.
So that is what when we are thinking about conversations, we have always an eye on how this conversation can be converted into action, how to bring pressure on the institution to accede to it. And as I said, so far we have seen that, there had been, NJAC is hanging by a thread of 4-1 majority. And you have to be very careful what kind of majority and leadership is there at Supreme Court to see. Because I'm telling you, the way the things are, the moment appointments are being made by any, kind of combination where judges and politicians sit together, the whole faith in the judicial system will come crashing down, because the insinuations and other things which will fly around on these appointments, which will be much more toxic than they are today.
Yeah, in fact, that's the solution that we are looking for. Now, coming to Ms. Castellino, you have already achieved a benchmark of reservation. What other measures do you think should be put in place to encourage women and to sustain them in the profession and to be able to appoint them? Like Bombay, I'm told, has only about 16% women. And again, Bombay being one of our oldest high courts and having a reputation of the biggest commercial court and progressive liberal outlook, given all those labels that Bombay High Court has, the figures show something else. What else do you think needs to be done, not just in Bombay, which may be replicated as a model in other high courts?
Yes, there is a lot which can be done, not just in Bombay. I would like to say at this point that till today, we've never had a CGI. We'll be having one for a short while. Otherwise, we don't have a CGI. We never had one. We don't have an attorney general who's a woman. We don't have an AG who's a woman of any state. Looking at that, I think what we really need to do is start at that level. maybe if we have an advocate general who's a woman, or an attorney general who's a woman, or a solicitor general who's a woman, that would help the other women to come forward and look at that post and aim for it. The bar associations, how much it can help is something that I, I, I think none of us can really answer it, because like my learned friend said, there'll be insinuations, etc. But I personally, and I have been doing this, I've been pushing our bar associations to forward names of women who, according to them and according to the panel also, the bar association also, who are meritorious, but are still not able to become a judge or become even on a government pleader. Today we have a government pleader who's a lady, but generally it's not there. That seat is just meant for men. So why can't it be that we, the bar associations, push for that? It is a suggestion which we can give the courts to think of appointing more women judges. The government, we can write to the government saying that why don't you think of an advocate general or a attorney general who's a woman? Because according to me, I mean, it may sound very biased, but I think women look at issues more delicately and properly and are very sincere when they take up a post. You will never find a woman who will take a post just for the sake of it. If they take up the post, they are very sincere about it. So probably we can ask and try pushing that our agenda to help and empower women.
Suggestions that had come up during our discussions in the morning was that maybe every bar association must have a subcommittee which would, the applications process that we are talking about, the visibility of women, maybe the bar association should call for the applications, have a subcommittee, scrutinize them, and like you said, at least put those names forward. Let those not, I mean, let that not be a mandate, but at least there's a
suggestion.
visibility.
A visibility.
At least a woman is seen instead of being completely unseen in the crowd.
Right.
So maybe that's one suggestion that all bar associations can seriously take up and look at.
We have been, in fact, pushing for it. In our bar association, we have been continuously pushing. Even there are, as per the Arbitration Act, an arbitrator who's being appointed, there are panels. You can give your name to the panel, and generally it is, if you see the list, it will be generally more males. So I was suggesting that why not we call more women? And another thing, when it comes to judgeship, this is one point that my learned friend was talking about. She said that we are not able to retain in the profession, in our career. We go off for various family reasons, etc., and then come back. This is one suggestion I really want the bar to give the bench and the collegium. When you're talking about continuous being in the profession, they should include the period of maternity leave, etc. Because today, if you go off for maternity leave and come back after 6 months, 1 year, it's considered as a cut and you start all over again. So there should be some kind of a provision that no, if you've gone for a maternity leave 6 months, that should be included in the process of your continuous practice.
Can I just add? Yes, yes, of course.
See, this process of recommendation from bar associations, in my view, can be very effective in case the bar associations make committees of very seasoned individuals who are not part of the electoral politics of bar association. Because, if the two things are tied, then, you will have names because of the pressure of a competitive electoral politics coming in the list, because everybody has to win the next election and all. So a balanced kind of a committee with the elected members and some very important figures, so that judiciary gives due credence to it. The recommendations which are there are recommendations which are really worthy of appointment and not outcome of, this competitive process. I think SCBA, something like that happened. And some of the names were very good, and some of the names were kind of,
Yeah, so we have
found
to
the
move
place.
from individualistic viewpoints to more
Yes,
organized
more
and
organized,
institution-based.
institutional structures we have to put in place. which are not dependent on, a kind of a populist choice and a pressure.
So maybe
So
CLPR
that,
can come up with a model which can be at least tried by leaders like you, and then they can be
yeah,
maybe
and I think that
replicated.
is what Anandita is working on, because
Yes.
we had discussions on these aspects, that how to take it forward, because we are trying to have learning from what happened before, and how
Absolutely.
to, take away those issues, so that, these recommendations are really considered. They are worthy of being considered.
Yes, yes,
A committee consisting of some senior members
yes.
can be formed and they can identify the suitable persons and they can give the list
Yes.
recommending their names to the collegium.
Absolutely. So now I will request Prashant to tell us, I think, leveling the scales, bar associations as catalysts for gender equality. We would like to have your thoughts on that.
See, bar associations are voluntary organizations. And with the membership getting more dispersed, more women coming, it has to reflect in the activity and policy of the bar associations. The issue is, should we wait for that kind of thing to happen, or we should have a deliberate push to make that happen? Because if you leave things to the tide and wait for the tide to come, things may never happen. So that's why bar associations have to make conscious choice. And I'm telling you, this kind of movement is going on across the board. There are countries like Philippines where, women had always been there. And we had uh, the first female chief justice in around 2012-13. And I was very fortunate to be at her inauguration. At the age of 54 years, she became the Chief Justice of Philippines. But then in 2018-19, Malaysia, which is very, very, traditional, and this organization had its first woman Chief Justice. In Sri Lanka, we had Sirani Bandaranaike as the first woman Chief Justice, and one of the most robust one, because she passed judgments against all powerful Rajpaksa regimes, corruption. She was impeached and removed. And she was even tried for that. I was her trial observer. And just see what kind of sensibility a powerful woman leader can come. So, when elections took place, government changed. She was restored as Chief Justice of Sri Lanka. She just took the office and resigned the same day. Her reason was that nearly every member of the bar who matters fought for my cause. They appeared for my case. Tomorrow, if these people appear before me and I grant them relief, my sense of judgment may not be attacked by others. So my honor has been restored. Let me take my honor, but not cause complications for the institution. So she resigned the same day. So I'm saying it is not just women coming up. They can show, and they have shown such remarkable character and leadership that once they have made to the positions, I think they can create their own benchmarks. They have been creating their benchmarks, and the bar associations have to stand by, have to push, and there have to be deliberate policies to do that. Thank you.
Actually, very interesting incidents and facts that you've talked about. Krishnaveni, can you address us? You were going to address the gender implicit bias in legal profession that impedes advancement to leadership positions.
As I said earlier, that self-confidence. If that is there, definitely there must be 50% we can push, 50% they have to come up. That fire in them, it should be there. We have to come up. We have to reach that destination. It should be there. They have to compete because this is a male-dominated profession. We have to fight it and come out. They won't give up easily. They won't let us inside. The male won't let us inside. Come, your seat is waiting. Come and take it up. That is not the position here. You have to fight. You have to prove your merit, and then only you have to come. So, Bar Association can lift you. After that, you have to grow. They cannot take you till the end. Only they can show the path. Then you have to work on your own and have to come up. Just by becoming a member or to a key position alone, that alone doesn't matter. Because by becoming a elected representative, you will be visible to the collegium or to the judges. But to impress the judge, you should have more merits in you. You should have conducted more cases. You should have concentrated more on the profession. That's there. Only by becoming a president or a secretary, if you are not attending the courts, if you are not conducting the cases, that is not there. You should be in the profession. You should daily meet the advocates, you have to meet the judges. You must be visible. You must be seen in the profession every day. Only if that is there, you can come up. That is more important, according to me.
Thank you.
And what we can say is to the youngsters, we can show the few models, see how they have come up, how they have attained this level. We can show some example of a judge or a senior advocate or in any other position. We can take classes to the youngsters. These are all those persons who have struggled in their early days, but in spite of their struggle, they have reached this position. They can be their role models, examples. Yes. If that is there, they can reach.
Ms. Castellino, can you tell us about representation of women in bar associations? I think we've talked a lot about it, but any other aspects that you would like to share with us?
Representation of women in the bar is extremely low. Everyone knows the figures. There are the Bar Council of India has no women who's a member. Most of our states, there is no president or secretary in most of our states. I think there are 9 states which have none of the key positions held by women. There are 7 states which have 2 of them, 1 of them. And Bihar, I think, is the only one which has 2. So holding key positions definitely helps when it comes to furthering our cause. And I call it a cause because it is a cause. It's something that we need to fight for. It's something that, like my learned friend said, it's not something that, they'll say, come, the seat is vacant for you. We have to fight for that seat. So we need those key positions. We need to put those suggestions. We need the bars, especially the Bar Council of India and the Bar Council of each state. See, because Bar Council of India, the representatives are from the state. And if you don't have anybody in the state, you will not have anybody in the Bar Council. So you need them in the Bar Council at the state level first. So we need that representation. And there are so many issues which today most of the Bar Councils are not able to take it up because they don't understand it. They don't have any women to understand it. And if you see, a lot of women don't find it comfortable to go and tell a member saying that, these are my issues. I know of women lawyers who have come and told me that, we have been harassed by a particular lawyer or a magistrate in one case. He was harassing a young lady lawyer. He would just call her to his court. He would ensure that her matter would be there. He would call it first, then keep it back. Then keep it till the end of the board. Then at the end of the board, he'd adjourn it for 2 days. Then again 2 days. Then at the end of it, she got so frustrated, she started sending her junior. So he would say, no, I will not hear you. I'll dismiss your matter if your senior is not here. And finally, she came to me and she spoke to me and she said, can you do something? I said, why don't you go and speak to the president of the bar? Because at the end of it, probably he'll be able to push it more. She said, no, he won't understand. Can you do something? So I said, okay. I told her, are you going to stand by your statement in case you're asked? Of course, I will not name you, but in case you're asked, will you stand by your statement? She said, yes, I will. So we went to one of the senior most lady judges. She waited out, I went in. I told her, this is the issue. And of course, the lady judge today has retired. So therefore, I'm narrating this incident without a name. The lady judge said, were you the person? I said, no. Why are you coming? So I said, because I represent every woman who practices in this bar. So she looked at me and said, by then that girl who was waiting outside, she barged in, she's quite daring. So she barged in and said, madam, I am the person. Oh, you mean you can't fight for yourself? So she said, madam, I've told him that he can't do this to me, but he still does it and he threatens to dismiss my matters. I have a lot of matters before him. The clients are threatening to take away my briefs. So he says, so fight it out. So I looked at the lady judge and I told her, madam, fighting it out she will, and so will all of us. But we want you to take up the issue of ensuring that the judge is taken to task. It is not fair. And if you are not going to do it, we will do what we have to do. And we walked out. The next thing I heard is the judge was transferred. So we need representations because a lot of women will not find it comfortable to go and complain or tell these issues to a male lawyer.
One more thing I would like to say is why women are not coming to the Bar Association is they're afraid of the sexual harassment because they have to mingle mostly with the men counterpart, and the advances and other things and the probable sexual harassment, they are all very afraid of it. They have to stay late evenings for the Bar Association meetings and other things. So the Bar Association has to assure them that a committee has been formed to eradicate all those things, and it is a safe place for the participation of the women lawyers. That's also most important. Bar Association has to take.
So a safe working environment is actually, that is again a very shameful thing, because in Supreme Court after Vishaka, the gender sensitization committee was set up only in 2013. So it was more than a decade after the judgment that, so leading by example, we were really falling back. And even now, most high courts do not have gender sensitization committees. So I think another agenda points for the bar associations is also to demand the gender sensitization committee for the particular high courts.
We have in fact written a lot of letters to our CJ, earlier CJ, and we have a committee now.
Finally.
Finally. And for Bombay, it is kind of surprising
Yes.
because there are a lot.
High Court, within the association, they should have it.
Yes, because you see, your association can have committees for various aspects.
One such committee should be for the gender sensitive.
Though I think mostly there is one representative of the Bar Association who goes to the central gender sensitization, but you can probably have an internal complaints program also. I don't think that there could be any prohibition to that, so that can be done.
We can have, the association should have.
So this has been an extremely interesting conversation, and I feel that maybe some contribution from the audience would also be very welcome. If you can pass the mic around, does anybody want to pose any question to the participants here? Uttara, would you like to say something as a response to the discussion here?
No, just so sometimes, like during COVID, we developed this the VCs, and we started observing courts. So it was possible to see it was possible to watch a lot of court proceedings. So sometimes I did notice that while the proceedings were going on, you could see that some judges were being a bit unfair to the women arguing before them. So whether bar associations can have some sort of, an informal messaging between the bar and the bench, like an informal sort of counseling, or carrying the word that, some judges are, because, you can't make a private complaint. So just a thought that came to my head.
Actually, I think what's being, what I can hear from all these comments is that it is very difficult to put forth an individual case. But as an association, you are a very powerful voice which espouses the voice of its members. And thus, it can come non-partisan, it can come as something which is not wrapped in some agenda, but as a problem which is being presented in a very impartial manner. So maybe that is something that bar associations can start working at.
In fact, there are examples. Israel, what happened that on issues including issues related to gender and behavior of judges in the court, not necessarily monetary corruption. So Israel Bar Association started evaluating the judges on all these parameters. And they started issuing a report of the judges to the Supreme Court also and the lower judiciary also. It led to a huge controversy when in 2005 I went there for their annual convention. The judiciary had boycotted the bar functions. So that was the outcome of it. And the international relations of the bar, it was Shlomo Cohen who was heading the committee. And they pushed the court and the government to come to terms to this. And the first independent ombudsman of judiciary to receive these complaints was appointed in Israel around that time. And it was Shlomo's mother who was sitting judge, who was the first woman judge and first judiciary ombudsman of judiciary. So that is a model which is working very well. We are now keeping the independence of judiciary intact, insulating it from any executive or other outside pressure in a very deft system. An institution has been created which acts as a check and also to push ideas and reform. It has a very good functional secretariat, and I think, we have to find some opportunity to push these kind of ideas here, and I think there is a case pending. So maybe we can make some intervention and see how the discourse goes.
In fact, on this, I would like to add that if anyone remembers, the Bombay Bar Association was one of the leading bars who took up the issue of against 5 judges. And those judges, 3 of them got transferred, that is some time back, and 2 of them resigned. So the bar can and has been taking up issues, but like I say, unless you have women representations in the bar, it will be very difficult for women to come forward and put in their grievances. And the fact that, you don't get that confidence when you're going and talking to a man, especially the young women who actually face all the problems. I don't think, anyone would think of having a problem with me, because then I'll sort it out with them. But it's the youngsters who actually have this problem. So for the youngsters to be able to go and talk, you need a woman there. And for that, we need a representation of women at the bar.
Even they are not coming out open in public. Nobody gives a complaint with regard to that.
Yeah, not giving a complaint is a very old problem that we are facing, because most women hesitate to give. The complaint numbers are very low. Anybody else? Yeah, Jaina.
I think there are a couple of questions. We can take them together and then have the panel respond.
Yes, yes, of course.
I have a question for, I guess both of you, since you're a part of bar associations. A twofold question. One is that, we spoke about different processes for getting more women in the higher judiciary, whether a secretariat or a database or an application process. And I completely agree that just sending recommendations can be political as well. But since bar associations represent women members of the bar as well, would bar associations not want to push for more transparency and fairness in the judiciary selection process, like having some of these measures for transparency? And secondly, so that more women lawyers can be considered in a fair and transparent manner, and because presently bar associations are not doing that. So, how do we ensure that bar associations can do this, and what are your thoughts on it? And a second question related, when names of people are sent, and often we see women's names are not confirmed by the government, or sometimes women's names are not selected also by the collegium. In those cases, bar associations should be pushing publicly that why are these names rejected? We see bar associations take up many issues publicly with the judiciary or with the government. So why not push these issues when women lawyers' names are actually not confirmed? Just your thoughts on it.
If there are any other questions, we can also take them.
Madam, my question will be with regard to now a lot of concern.
Introduce yourself.
Yeah,
We'd like to.
My name is Jay Dutt. I am PhD scholar at Psychiatric Social Work, NIMHANS. I also have law background. So my question was with regard to now a lot of issues women faces are been argued here. Now perinatal psychiatry also is one of the thing which is ignored. A lot of issues related to now crèches opening is one of the thing they have started in many of the workplace, because this is workplace. The many of the maternity related concern will be there. They can have crèches, and High Court are building that structure. Whether perinatal psychiatry or those kind of concerns also are coming. Women mental health. We have International Association for Women Mental Health. Recently 10th program has happened. Whether collaboration with these kind of bodies at the international level is also in the mind of bar association is my question.
That's a very interesting related question, but let's first answer Jaina's question, and then we'll go to that question.
I think your question was in respect of women being pushed for judiciary and having transparency there. The collegium and the judges basically have always shied away from, having this transparency, because they said there are a lot of other issues which will, become public, and people may not like it, and there will be too much of interference by everybody. Yes, we can, in case certain lawyers' names, women lawyers' names are suggested, it's cleared by the state collegium, goes to the Supreme Court, and not cleared there. We could definitely write to the collegium on a personal note by the Bar Association and ask them as to what exactly happened. Asking for complete transparency. Of course, I've always been in support of transparency, but looking at the way things are going, I don't think the judiciary is in favor of transparency. We can push for it, we should push for it, we should know why somebody is rejected. Because if he's cleared by the judiciary or the collegium of the state, then what is the hindrance in the Supreme Court collegium clearing it? We need to know that. As far as your question is concerned about mental health, yes, mental health of women are a major issue when it comes to our profession, because the kind of work we do is tremendous stress on our mental being and our families, etc. I know that some of us work from 8 in the morning to 10, 11 in the night, take home work, read the night out, and are ready for the next day. we should, in fact, that was a suggestion also given recently by us, that we should have, some kind of a psychiatrist who come once a month, meet our members, see if any issues, they're not just related to women, but to all members, because everybody has that. I mean, our life is quite stressful. The clients, I don't think, have so much of stress about their matter as we have of their matter. So we do need that. To add to this, I just want to say one thing. Like I told you all that I had started an organization called iLaw, which is basically for women lawyers of Maharashtra. We had a yoga session. We had self-defense courses for women lawyers. We had a cricket match for the whole of Maharashtra women lawyers. So it was it's a stress buster basically, and there was a young girl who came and told me, "Madam, after so many years I held a bat. After I came into the profession, I got married, I could never play. It was work, then go back home, look after the family, look after the husband, look after the children." So this gave me such a nice opening. And then we tried to have these practice sessions around 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock. So the girl, did not have to answer too much at home. It was during that quotas. And somehow we just managed. And we had the Oval Maidan in front of us. The High Court of Bombay is in front of the Oval Maidan, which is a lovely cricket pitch. So those girls used to go there, practice. We encouraged them. We gave them everything possible, like kits, everything. We gave them a pitch to play, practice. It was not whether you win or lose. And that's the first thing I told all those teams who came. They came from all over Maharashtra. I said, it's not a question of whether you win or lose. Just go and enjoy yourself. So that helps in the mental being. And that is very necessary in our profession, not just only for women, but more so for women, but even for men.
Once again, Zaina's query, one more aspect is, many of the high courts, we have two associations, one for a common gender and another for exclusively for women advocates association. Even Supreme Court has women advocates association, many of the high courts have. Before the women become a member in a common gender and raised to the post of a secretary or a key post, the Women Advocates Association, at present having the president and secretary or all women, they can take this as a challenge and write to the collegium and fight with the collegium for the representation of women. It's already there, they are having that, they are all representatives of women, they can do that. They can ask for that. Instead of, men will be there, men association is there, they will do it, but at present they won't be doing it unless women representatives is there. Before a woman representative becomes a member there, comes there, women advocate associations already is in existence. Those president and secretaries and other office bearers can very well do that task and ask for the representation. That is my.
See, as I already stated, we are more looking for a very proper institutionalized structure which can address these issues. We are working on it, and to suggest any reform in existing structures is a very ticklish and painstaking task. And
that is the objective of today, this whole conversation, is because everybody is feeling the problems. Today, judiciary is at a very precarious state. So we don't want to be giving any suggestions off the bat.
Yeah.
Everything well thought out.
So that's why I had discussions in Delhi with Jaina as well, that we want to create a functional model and present it first administratively to the judiciary. And if administratively it doesn't work out, then through on the judicial side by presenting a petition. But we are working, and we have, as I said, we need to work. Our capacities as bar associations are not so, we don't have, like, judiciary also does not have that kind of support from a registry, the kind of matters, the kind of scale of things which Supreme Court is dealing with or high courts are dealing with, there is no bureaucratic backup which is optimal to take care of that. So we have to think of these structures which can bring down discretion. And as you said, yes, we have, we were 49 days there on the trot on NJAC. This thing, so all these questions that, if we make it public, how it is going to impact, what kind of reasons can be given, how it will inhibit more, candidates to come if, there has to be public disclosure of all the decisions we have heard. So that's why we are taking into account, because we went through that very intensive process of 49 days hearing and each single nuance being discussed. So we are trying to build a system and present it where the discretion can be brought down, the at least anonymized data is created and is available, which itself is going to help. How many applications, like, the issue which is here, how many applications came, how many recommendations from High Court were there, Supreme Court did not do, Supreme Court recommended, government did not do. All these things, when they come out like a data, anonymized data, like we have now on National Judicial Grid. So, because, I have worked from the very early stages, the first e-court system presentation on behalf of the Supreme Court of Singapore was made by me to a collegium headed by Chief Justice Kirpal, along with the tech company Crimson Logic. So I have interfaced it for almost more than 2 decades in this, and how technology, how other things, and our own issues we can thresh out and try to mitigate is one. Secondly, again, intervention in case some recommendation is not accepted, how it is done, all these processes. Again, since everything is so individualistic, so arbitrary, to create any kind of normative approach in this is very difficult today. Because, like if we want to make from SCBA or Bar Association of India, we won't know actual credentials of the recommendations. And till it is disclosed that why it is being held, it's a very difficult battle to fight. So that's why I'm saying we have to come together, create these approaches where we can find practical solutions. And I want to conclude my comment with a very, good picture. In 2022, Law Society of South Africa, it has a structure. There are 3 organizations, one Black Lawyers Association, one a government-backed body, and the Law Society, 3 organizations, and they have a vote in the appointment of judges as well. So in 2022, we had all 3, president and 2 vice presidents as women. So it was the first all-women presidency. Mabieng Dennis Lenyai, Joanne Anthony Gooden, and Eunice Masipa. And then the next president was Eunice. So we had succession of women presidency. And Mabieng Dennis was appointed at a very young age. And both of these women are in their early 40s. And in fact, Masipa was not even 40. So we honored them here in Delhi. And I had a pleasure because, it was going to be a groundbreaking appointment. So Mabieng had to show her international credentials. So I happened to give a letter of support for her elevation as a High Court judge of Pretoria in South Africa. And she is appointed as a very young age. And we very much look forward to her getting into the position of leadership in judiciary in South Africa.
So this has been a wealth of information and opinions. And I think putting all the views that we have heard in the room today, I think the first thing that I'm hearing is that everybody's issue is the same. Everybody recognizes the problem. Everybody is working and striving towards it. But what I'm feeling is that the effort is a little futile because there is not enough strength in it. So maybe this is an opportunity where everybody's efforts can come together towards the common goal. We can all have shared responsibilities in this larger process and cohesively move towards a target. Maybe we can establish a target today that within 5 years from now, we must achieve a 33% target. And everybody can bring in ideas, experiment, and I don't think there's any harm in trying out any which way which will work. So keep this as a period of experimentation because this is now coming out of 74 years of frustration. You know, we've tried the mentoring path, we have tried the positioning path, but now I think everybody sees the writing on the wall to make it institutionalized, to make it cohesive, and to make it a schematic process. So thank you very much. The participants have been wonderful. It has been really nice talking to all of them.